debates us fans love to have. Who's the greatest of all time? Who's the most charismatic? Who's the flashiest? Well, in today's video, we're talking about a debate that's not talked about nearly enough. Who are the 5 most significant fighters in the history of the UFC? Who is primarily responsible for the organization being where it is today? I'm Tommy P from Naturally Obsessed, and this is a Naturally Obsessed look into mixed martial arts. And before we begin, I ask that you please hit that like button, subscribe button, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about today's video. You could make an argument for Royce to be higher on this list, but due to the dark ages that followed, I believe there were more important fighters to the UFC's future success. But that does not discredit the amazing contributions this man gave to the UFC. Undersized in every fight he had, Royce became the instant face of the UFC, winning 3 of the first 4 tournaments and putting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the map. For years, stand-up fighters were viewed as absolutely superior, but Royce showed what type of damage taking a fight to the ground can inflict. With his slick submissions and undeniable toughness, Royce won 11 of the first 12 fights he had, going 11-0-1, with a draw coming against Ken Shamrock at UFC 5, simply because back then the UFC was not sanctioned and no judges were involved, making every fight exceeding the time limit an instant draw. He left a lasting impact on the sport, which is still felt to this day, and made Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a key skill set for any successful fighter going forward. When the Fertittas bought the UFC, they paid for a big marketing campaign to showcase who they believed to be the future of the sport. While the Fertittas believed that biggest star they had was Tito Ortiz, Dana White wasn't convinced, believing Chuck Liddell was the future of the sport. With his elite-level karate, kickboxing, and wrestling, Liddell became the biggest star the UFC had ever had at that point in time, becoming legendary for his knockouts and tough guy look, not to mention the best haircut in the business. After winning the light heavyweight title from Randy Couture at UFC 52, he would go on to defend his title 4 consecutive times, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest of all time and one of the key contributors for making the sport what it is today. Women will never fight in the UFC. Those are words famously said by Dana White, and he meant it. That is until the world met Ronda Rousey. With her ultra-aggressive personality and world-class judo, Rousey took the MMA world by storm, becoming not only the biggest star in the sport, but one of the biggest in the world. With an armbar everyone knew was just moments away from being executed, no one was convinced she could be beat. People either loved her or loved to hate her. She literally took the world by storm, turning the entire country of Brazil against one of their own in Correia. There is no longer an argument for Rousey to be considered the greatest female fighter of all time, but it is undeniable that she is the reason women's MMA is where it is today. The notorious one, the pride of Ireland, Mystic Mac. Whatever you call him, there isn't a person in the world who won't know who you're referring to. Conor McGregor is undeniably the biggest draw in UFC history. Whether it's for his entertaining antics, his powerful left hand, people will always tune in to watch him. McGregor has main evented 5 of the 6 highest selling pay-per-views in UFC history, making him inarguably the most valuable asset the UFC has ever had. When the UFC sold for $4 billion in 2016, McGregor said that without him, there's no way the UFC would have been worth so much. And to be honest, it's hard to argue. Whether it's in the octagon, a boxing ring, or in the world of business, McGregor's impact in the UFC will forever be felt as the most charismatic and polarizing figure the sport has ever seen. The UFC was all in on the final chance to save the sport. It was called The Ultimate Fighter. The Fertittas put the last bit of money into the business in a last-ditch effort to pull themselves out of the massive money pit the UFC had become. And then one night, on free TV, Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonnar put on what many still deem as not only the greatest fight in the UFC's history, but the fight that saved the sport. With Forrest winning, he became an instant fan favorite and one of the most relatable fighters in the UFC. He wasn't overly athletic or even necessarily overly talented, but he had a drive and determination to be great and to never give up no matter what the odds were. Forrest was the first fighter the new age UFC fans fell in love with, watching him go from up-and-coming Ultimate Fighter to the UFC's light heavyweight champion. Dana White and the Fertittas have gone on record on numerous occasions saying that if it wasn't for what Forrest was able to do that night along with Stephan Bonnar, the UFC as we know it would surely cease to exist. So there you have it, the 5 most impactful fighters in the UFC's history. Please comment down below, let me know what you disagree or agree with. If you'd like to see similar content like this in the future, please leave your suggestions in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below letting me know what you thought about today's video. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.